Hello, teacher.
Hi, Bruce. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. How's your week? How's your week going? How's school?
We have a competition today.
Ah, okay. And what?
Um, whole class will choose two people, two children, to uh,
Two children for what?
um,
Just think of it. Just say it the way you're thinking it. Okay.
for help teacher
Okay. To be teacher's helper.
and
No, go ahead. No, say that so you understand it. To be a teacher's helper.
to be a teacher's helper
Okay. And anything else?
and um, maybe let the other classmates be quiet.
Oh, and to make sure that they tell the other children to be quiet. That's part of their job, to kind of control that.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, what's the competition? I mean, how do you get chosen?
Teacher will give you a paper and you uh, put you write the name uh, you want to choose and write it on the paper and teacher will count it which person is
Go, go ahead. I'm going to help you with it. I know what you're saying. I can figure out what you're saying, but I'll help you with it saying it correctly. And the teacher will choose what?
and the teacher will count it which person the first and second.
Okay. This is what I think you're trying to say. And you said it okay. I can figure it out. So everyone has to write down, all children on a piece of paper have to write down two kids, right? Two kids that they select. And then the teacher is going to take all those pieces of paper and count up who has the most votes. And whoever has the most votes will be first child, will be one. And then who comes in second, who has the second and the highest amount of votes, will be number two. Is that what you're saying?
And teacher write four names.
Oh, there's going to be four names.
Yes.
And then you only select two?
Yes, only select two.
Okay. But each child only puts two names down though, right?
Each child puts four names down.
Oh, okay. So everybody, each child writes down four kids, and then the teacher is going to select the top two that has the most votes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now I want you to try to tell me that.
We have a competition that's for be the teacher's helper.
Okay.
Each children writes 4 names down,
Okay.
and the teacher will choose top the first and the second children.
Okay, the top 2 children. Okay, very good. And the only thing I would correct you on is when you said each children, it's because you're saying each, that's just one, right? And you're going to say each child. Each child writes down four children on a piece of paper. Okay, just so you know how to say that correctly. Okay, good job. Anything else going on, or is that it? How was school? How was your classes? Do you have a lot of homework?
We have not a lot of homework.
Okay. Okay. And anything coming up for you on the weekend?
If it's not rain, I will play to the climbing wall again.
Okay, so if it's not raining, I will play on the climbing wall again.
If it isn't raining, I will play on the climbing wall.
Okay, all right, good job. Well, hopefully it won't rain so you can play on the climbing wall. That sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, let's take a look at your homework. I'm going to have you read this once again. Try to pick up any errors, okay?
Okay. 2,000 years later, the dragon missed his old cave, so he back to his sweet home. He looked inside. There isn't any large dragon in it, so he decided to continue lived here. He flew outside. When he went to when he wants to
keep going.
aid people again, he heard the rattle of a rifle. The dragon is frightened. He never came back.
Okay, so how many, do you see errors in there? Because there are some. Let's start at the beginning. The very first sentence. The dragon missed his old cave. That was fine. Okay. Missed his past tense, his old cave. So he
Decided
to
So he decided back to
he decided to go back to. You have to have the article. He decided to go back to his. And what is that? His blank home? What is that?
sweet.
His sweet home?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So he decided to go back to his sweet home. He looked inside. There, past tense for isn't.
Wasn't.
There wasn't any large dragon in it or in there. So he decided to continue to live there. Remember, we're talking in past tense. He flew outside, it's fine. When he went to, and you have ate there, but it would be eat. When he went to eat people again, he heard the rattle of a rifle. The dragon, past tense for is, was frightened. He never, past tense for come,
came.
he never came back. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
All right, any questions on that one?
No, thank you, teacher.
Okay. Let's go back to our literature and polity. Okay, this is going to be our next reading for today, okay? And that is Tomas. Tomas and his sons. And read where it says compare text.
Read to find out how Thomas and Maria come up with an idea to solve their problem.
Okay. And go ahead and tell me what you see in that picture. What do you see there?
I see two people. They are walking. And three people are sleeping on the chair.
Okay, 3 people are sleeping. And the 2 people that are walking, what are they doing as they're walking? Are they just walking, or are they doing something else?
They are maybe sell the grapes.
Okay, maybe they're doing, but they're carrying the grapes, right? They're holding those. One the lady has it in her arms, and the other man has it like on top of his head. But that verb we're talking about is carry, to hold something, right? We don't know what they're going to do yet, but they're carrying the grapes. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And in the back, just so I kind of understand what you're saying, but you said 3 people are sleeping. They could be, but what else would you say they're doing if they're not sleeping?
They are use a chair.
Okay. They're using a chair to do what?
To put their feet on the table.
Okay, and what if I was doing that, if I'm in my chair and I kind of go back in my chair and I put my feet up on the table here, what am I doing?
Rest.
Okay, they're resting or they're relaxing, something like that, right? Okay. Because they may be sleeping, but probably not, because look at their arms. Their arms are behind their head, and they're laying back in their chair, and they have their feet up. So they're probably, like you said, resting or relaxing. Okay. All right. Good job. Let's go ahead and read.
Thomas was a hard-working farmer. His vines produced the best grapes of any vineyard around. It is the soil, which has been tilled for years. He told people if they asked him his secret. Other times, he said, Mexico's sun gives the grapes no choice but to grow large and juicy. Over the years, Tomas' stories became more inventive. But Thomas knew why his grapes were the best. Generations of hard work had kept the land plentiful. Hard work was something Thomas knew well. But his sons, Eduardo, Miguel,
and Luis.
Eduardo, Miguel, and Luis were the 3 laziest boys in all of Mexico. While their parents tilling the earth under the hot afternoon sun, the boys slept. As the sun bends toward evening, the brothers rose. They stumbled into the kitchen. They filled their plates with eggs and tortillas. By nightfall, they were wide awake. Soon, they were off to the village to sing and dance until morning. Thomas,
Hold on a second, Bruce. I'm going to ask you a question. There's a couple of words, just so I make sure you understand them. There's a couple of words that you already read, and I want to make sure you understand what they mean. What does it mean when they talk about tilling? They tilled for years.
it means plant something.
Okay, planting and turning up the earth, right? The dirt. And then what is generations? Generations of hard work had kept the land plentiful. What does that mean? Generations.
It for a long time.
Well, yeah, in a way, but when we talk about it says generations of hard work. Generations, when they're talking about it in this regard, is family after family. So perhaps Maria and Tomas's parents, they also worked the field, and their parents worked the field, and their parents worked the field. So it's like your grandparents, it's like your parents, then your grandparents, and then your great grandparents. That is a generation, family to family to family, going down. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
All right. Okay, and we'll go ahead and continue.
Thomas worried about the land. What would happen once he and his wife, Maria, were too old to work? Their sons showed no interest in the vines. Once, Thomas had asked the boys to walk through the vineyard with him.
Vineyard, that's how you pronounce that word.
Vineyard with him. He again told them about their
ancestors
bringing the wines from Spain. These wines tell our family's story, Thomas said. But he knew his words were lost on the boys. The farm's success was not as exciting as last night's fiesta.
Yeah, which is like a party.
One afternoon, under the calabash tree, Thomas brought his worries to Maria. What can we do? Thomas asked. The vines will perish unless the boys learn to plow the earth.
Okay, couple words there. Ancestors. What are ancestors?
Ancestors is like your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather.
Yeah, all the people, like we're talking about generations, right? Okay. And then he also said, what is perish?
Perish means die.
To die, right? So if they don't work it, they don't learn how to take care of those vines in the vineyard, right? The plants are going to die like anything. Okay, let's continue.
Maria knew the boys valued the warm nights under the stars. Why would they want to work in the heat of a day? There must be a way to get the boys to plow, Maria said. Let's brainstorm ideas to find one that will work. Each day, Thomas and Maria sat under a calabash tree and talked over the problem. One day, when it seemed no original ideas would ever come to them, a gourd,
A gourd.
a gourd fell from the tree. Maria picked up the gourd, turning it in her hands. She remembered something that had worked in the past. Of course, Thomas, said Maria. The boys needed a purpose, a real reason for doing something. Last year, Louis could not find his gold drum. His room was a mess. His clothes were lying all around. It was not possible to find his bed, much less a small garage drum. The only way to find his drum was to clean his room. And did he? Asked Thomas. Maria smiled. He did. Once he had cleaned, Louis found his great treasure buried under a pair of shirts. Thomas thought about this. Maria, he said after a while, what if the boys believe a treasure is buried in this vineyard? Would they dig to find it? I think that's just the motivation they need, Maria said. The next day, Thomas told his sons he had been keeping a secret. When our Aikenstores brought the wine to his line, they also brought a great treasure. I believe it is buried in the vineyard. For years I have tilled the earth to find it. We'll be rich beyond belief once it is found. Right away his sons declared they would help Thomas find the treasure.
Okay, so let me ask you, do you know what is a gourd? Maria picked up the gourd.
Gourd, gourd is a kind of plant that's
Okay.
It's shaped like this.
Exactly. Okay. And it's really, and they're really hard, right? They're really hard. And you can put stuff in them. Like here it said Luis couldn't find his gourd drum. You can actually fill them with different things and they're really decorative. You can put food or bird seeds, stuff like that in them for birds and they can hold it. You can put all sorts of things in there. And a lot of people like them because they can be very decorative and they just, they grow from a tree, basically, or from a vine. So yeah. Okay, good job. And next page.
Many happy seasons passed with the family digging together in the vineyard. The sons were amazed each year to see the big juicy grapes. Even more, they were thrilled by the worth the crop had brought them. One day, long after the farmer's sons had taken over the vineyard, Louis asked his brothers, "Have we found the great treasure yet?" The three brothers began to laugh. They had forgotten that they were digging to find treasure. Yet all their hard work made them realize that the vineyard was a treasure.
Okay. So taking a look at where it says make connections, go ahead and read that question and give me the answer.
How did Thomas and Maria come up with an idea to solve their problem?
Okay. What was the how did they come up?
Their three sons were lazy, so they gave them the motivation to let them working.
Okay, but how did they come up with that motivation?
Because Louis
What is the word? What is the word that's in the story? It was actually one of the vocabulary words. What is one of the words they had to do?
work.
No. How did Thomas and Maria come up with the idea? What is the word that we're looking for in there?
Brainstorm.
Brainstorm, okay? And so that's what they were doing. They were trying to think of ideas, right? That's what brainstorming is, trying to find an idea that will work best for their situation. Their situation was their three lazy sons didn't want to work or work the land. So they had to think, brainstorm of a way, how can we get them to do this? Okay. And how about number 2? How about where it says compare? Compare the ways.
Compare the ways in which characters come up with ideas.
Okay. Can you think of any ways in which characters come up with ideas?
Yes, they are all come up ideas when there was some problem.
Okay. And that's usually, for the most part, when people try to come up with ideas is usually when there's something that's not working, right? Usually a problem, something that needs to be improved or fixed. Okay, good job. Let's go to the next one. This is good. Experts Incorporated. All right, this is this is a funny story. All right, go ahead and read the question.
How do your actions affect others? Read to find out if Rodney's actions will affect his class and his future.
Okay, so let's go ahead and start.
Things I can't stand. There are 3 things in this world I can't stand: cucumber salad, wool sweaters, and creative writing. Cucumbers makes me burp and wool makes me itch. But if you gave me a choice, I would rather burp and itch at the same time than have to write something creative. You finished your essay, right, Rodo?
Rado, and that's like short for Rodney, right? So that's one of his friends calling him that. Hey, Rado, instead of Rodney, he calls him Rado. Okay.
Okay. My friend Lucas asked me as we walked toward school together early one morning. I hesitated.
Good.
Lucas is my best friend, and we always shoot straight with each other. Yes, I finished it, I said. Phew, that's a relief, he said. If you hadn't, I would never forgive you, you know. Yeah, I know, I said. The problem began on the first day of the school year when our humanities teacher, Mrs. Greenberg, promised that if nobody got an F in her class all semester, he would give us a pizza party. Just remember, she laughed, there are no F's in pizza. Here it was, the last week of the semester, and I was about to earn not just an F, but the F that would ruin everything. Because, you see, I hadn't done assignments, not one word of it.
Okay, not one word of it. I hadn't done the assignment. What is there's a couple words in here. What is a humanities teacher? What is humanities? What is that subject?
It's a kind of things that you will learn it in the class, and it's about people.
Okay, so it's about the human race. Good job. And then there was an idiom in here. That's what you call it, an idiom. And I want you to tell me what this means. We always shoot straight with each other. What's he talking about there? He first said, I hesitated. I mean, this is what the story says. I hesitated. Lucas is my best friend, and we always shoot straight with each other. What does he mean by that?
I think it means they always have something and says to means I think it means not let's each other be angry and
Not really. Bruce, what's happening in this section here? What did Lucas ask Rodney? Or
he asked Rado, is he finished his essay?
And what did Rodney say?
He says he finished it.
Did he?
No.
Okay. So thinking of that now, go back to this. We always shoot straight with each other. What do you think that means now?
Says the truth.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it means. When somebody shoots straight with you, that means they tell you the truth. They don't lie. Okay. And that's why he's saying here, I hesitated. Lucas is my best friend, and we always shoot straight with each other, meaning we always tell each other the truth. But he basically lied to him. He says, yeah, I finished it. And I said, phew, that's a relief. If you hadn't, I would never forgive you. So he's lied to his friend. Okay. All right. Now let's go to the next page.
we rounded the corner and headed up the block toward school, Jeremy and Russell, 2 friends from our class, caught up with us. You guys did the assignments, right? Russell asked us. Yep, Lucas answered for us both. How about you? Of course, said Jeremy. What do we look like, idiots? I can taste the pepperoni already. Last year's class got a party and somebody told me she lets them have all the soda they wanted to. When I get nervous, I sometimes get hives on my neck, and I could feel one beginning to prickle up under my collar.
And that's kind of like a hive. Go ahead.
What profession do you pick? Lucas asked.
Did you pick? Past tense.
What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Doctor, Jeremy said, 'cause they get to save people and stuff. I picked truck driver, said Russell. They get to travel and eat at dinners.
Diners, at diners.
Eat at diners. I love diners, but my mom says they are too greasy. So we never get to go. What about you, Lucas? Star pitcher for the New York Yankees, he said. Man, can you imagine getting paid to play baseball?
Okay, hold on a second. Hey, Bruce, you've done this a couple of times, and I'm going to try to correct you just because it'll make more sense. Remember, we got question marks here, and we also have, okay, we have question marks, and we also have quotations, right? The quotations means that somebody's actually saying this, okay? It's not just text that you're reading. Somebody is actually saying this. And remember, we have question marks, so they're asking a question. They want to know something. So in order to read that correctly, I'm gonna read from the very top, but I just want you to listen, okay? I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna end here. Okay? So once again, we're starting with quotations because we know, and there's a question mark, and we know Lucas asked that question. So here we go. What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Doctor, Jeremy said, because they get to save people and stuff. I picked truck driver, said Russell. They get to travel and eat at diners. I love diners, but my mom says they're too greasy, so we never get to go. What about you, Lucas? Star pitcher for the New York Yankees, he said. Man, can you imagine getting paid to play baseball? Okay, see, the way I read it, you can hear the different people speaking because there's that intonation, that inflection in my voice. I know somebody is saying this question. I know somebody is saying this whole thing, because I see the quotations. I know there's somebody else saying this one. I see quotations because it said Russell. And then he starts again with, they get to travel and eat at diners. I love diners, blah, 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 blah. And here's another question. What about you, Lucas? And then he says, star pitcher for the New York Yankees. And then another quotation. Man, can you imagine getting paid to play baseball? He's asking that like as a question tag. So I want you to try to start practicing, because your level of reading is starting to become a little bit more challenging, but it's really important that you really start looking at what you're reading and not just say the words, because when you read it like this, Okay, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it an incorrect way. And you're going to hear a difference. What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Doctor, Jeremy said, because they get to save people and stuff. I picked truck driver, said Russell. They get to travel and eat at diners. I love diners, but my mom says they're too greasy, so we never get to go. What about you, Lucas? Star pitcher for the New York Yankees, he said. Man, can you imagine getting paid to play baseball? Now, I read all the words. They were all pronounced correctly. But do you hear a difference?
No.
You don't hear a difference. From the first way I read it to the second way I read it. You don't hear a difference?
No.
No? Okay, when I'll try to explain it again. It's just, and hopefully you'll kind of understand this. When I read, this is really a good paragraph to practice with. Okay? When I read this, there are three people talking. Okay, Lucas, Russell, and Jeremy. Okay, there's three people talking amongst themselves. So they don't all sound the same. The way I just read it, you can't really understand who is saying what. I'm going to read it again the way it should sound, and just tell me if it sounds any different than the way I just read it. The way I just read it was monotone, meaning it was flat, and it was just, there was no inflection. My voice never went up and it never went down. It just stayed monotone all the way across. Here's monotone. What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Doctor, Jeremy said, because they get to save people and stuff. Okay, that's monotone, boring. Now, this is the way it should be read. What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Doctor, Jeremy said, because they get to save people and stuff. I picked truck driver, said Russell. They get to travel and eat at diners. I love diners, but my mom says they're too greasy and we never get to go. What about you, Lucas? Now, does that sound different?
Yes.
Okay, and that's the way you should start practicing reading, because there's different people speaking and you have to know who is saying what. Because if you don't read it that way, it's hard to keep everything straight. And it makes the reading very boring when you read monotone. If you don't have that intonation of your voice going up when you're asking a question or something exciting with an exclamation, it just makes it really boring. And it's hard to follow. Okay. And I know this is a lot, but just try, and you're not going to pick up everything. But when you first start seeing quotation marks, that right there tells you that somebody in particular, somebody is saying those exact words. It's not like, let me try to give you another example, just so you really understand it. This sentence here is different than this sentence here. Okay? There's no quotations. This is just part of the story. So when that first line is, what profession did you pick? You got a question mark and somebody's asking this. Lucas is asking this, right? What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Versus this right here. This is just a statement. The assignment had been to write an essay about what you want to be when you grow up. Okay, that's just information. That's just a statement. It's not somebody asking a question. It's just part of the regular story. Does that kind of make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, okay. Anyway, just try to start practicing that when you see it. Okay, so it's why it's really important to just slow down your reading and look ahead before you say the words, so you know how to say it. Okay, now we're going to start again on this part. I want you to try to read it the way I just instructed. Okay, take your time.
What profession did you pick? Lucas asked. Doctor, Grammy said, 'cause they get to save people and stuff. I picked trunk driver, said Russell. They get to travel and eat at diners. I love diners, but my mom says they are too greasy, so we never get to go. What about you, Lucas? Star pitcher for the New York Yankees, he said. Man, can you imagine getting paid to play baseball?
Good job. That's really good. Okay, much different than the first time that you read that. And it was easy to follow you, and it made the story interesting. Okay, okay, good job. All right, keep going.
The assignment had been to write an essay about what you want to be when you grow up. Sounds easy enough, unless you are like me and have no idea what you want to be. And no matter how hard you try, I can't think of
You can't think.
You can't think of even one thing that feels the least bit right. I bet all the girls are going to say they want to be teachers, 'cause they know Mrs. Greenberg will eat that up with a spoon. Russell said with disgust. Yeah, probably. Lucas agreed. So what did you pick, Rado? He asked. Turn to me. We were just starting up the steps of the school when a family cry went up from the playground. Hey, look, everybody. There goes
Mucus.
Mucus. Hey, Mucus. Lucas blushed and hung his head as we walked up the steps and into the building. It happens to him all the time. Poor guy. He has one of the worst names. Not only does Lucas rhyme with
Mucus.
mucus, but even you shorten it to Luke, you are still in trouble because then it rhymes with puke. Puke. He's been taught towards his whole life on
account
of that name.
Okay, so two things for you. What are those two rhyming words? What do they mean? What is mucus and what is puke?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Mucus is the stuff that comes from our nose when we have a cold, right? When our nose runs, the mucus. Okay, that's mucus. Okay. Puke is when you throw up. Okay, that's the name for puke. So that's why they're teasing him, because he has a name called Lucas. Well, what rhymes with Lucas? Mucus. So they tease him and they call him that name. What rhymes with Luke, which is short for Lucas, so they could call him Luke. But what rhymes with Luke? Puke. So that's what they're laughing about. Okay, so let's we're not going to finish this story, but hopefully we'll be able to. Well, go ahead and read this page.
Having a bad name is something Lucas and I have in common and probably part of the reason we became friends all the day back on the first day of kindergarten. My name is Rodney Corton. My parents and my teachers call me Rod. My friends call me Rodo, and my sister, who's only 2, calls me Rara. Rodney Corton might not be the greatest name in the world, but from words like that, it's not so bad. The thing is, at the school, when they call out your name for attendance, they said it's backward. Lucas Bromberg becomes Bromberg Lucas. Samantha Smith becomes Miss Samantha. Unfortunately, unfortunately, I become Curtin Rod. That's bad. As we make our down the hall to homeroom, I felt sorry for Lucas on account of the tasting. But secretly, I was relieved that he'd forgotten about the question he'd asked me. How was he doing to take it when he found out I hadn't done the assignment? After she took attendance, Mrs. Greenberg, we have her for homeroom as well as humanities, announced that she would be collecting our papers after lunch. There was still hope left. All I had to do was come up with an idea between now and then.
Scribble it down.
Scribble it down in time to hand it in with the others. And maybe I wouldn't have to ruin the party after all. The problem was I still didn't have any ideas.
I didn't have any ideas. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so tell me a little bit. What's happening right now up to this point? We know Rodney hasn't done his paper, right? And what is the paper about? What's the assignment? What did the teacher assign?
The assignment is what do you want to do when you grow up?
Okay, so that's the assignment. So seems like everybody's done it except for Rodney, right? Okay, this is what I want you to do, only because we'll be in the next book for next week. I want you to finish reading this story because you have it, okay?
Yes.
And okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 pages. 4 pages. Wow. Okay. Finish reading the story, and then I want you to answer the question on page 41.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's 5 pages. And then I probably will ask you questions about it next week. Even though we're going to be in the other book, we'll answer this question on page 41, but I'll ask you questions about what you thought of it on the last 5 pages. It's a really funny story. So if you haven't finished reading it yet, I think you'll enjoy it. And also make sure, Bruce, that you write down any questions that you have. Like if there comes, if there's a word or a phrase or something that you read that you just don't understand, make sure you write it down, okay? Because there's probably, there might be a couple words in there. Just like you didn't know with mucus and puke what those meant, right? It's important that you do know what those kind of words are, okay? So just, you're gonna start reading from where we left off, okay? Right here, and finish the story, okay?
Okay.
All right. Any last minute questions?
No, thank you, teacher.
Okay. Well, and then tell me what you think of it, if you liked it or not. I really liked the story. I thought it was good. Okay. Well, with that, then, hey, have a great week, and have fun on the weekend. Do something fun, and I'll see you next week. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Bye, Bruce.
Bye, teacher.
Yeah.